Hey Anthony, thanks for joining this episode of Sips and Software. We're gonna discuss the future of coding, programming. Should programmers be concerned with the way that the world's moving? And in general, vibe coding, what does that mean? Impact of AI and so on and so forth when it comes to development, infrastructure, architectures, the works. But with that, can you kind of introduce yourself, your background, and why you are a good voice for this topic?
Yeah, awesome. Colin, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about this topic specifically. I'm an enterprise architect in my day job. I specialize in emerging technology and especially the management and innovation in complex enterprises. But what makes me an expert is that I've been working in AI since 2015. Some of my original code is now shipped as the model providers for many of the hyperscalers that we all know, love, have complicated relationships with.
Yeah, and speaking of pioneer since 2015, I saw Jack Dorsey, who Twitter, Square, he's been a pioneer of the Silicon Valley boom. He's started up two companies recently, almost exclusively on vibe coding. So you got a guy like that who credits himself as an innovator, leaning on this technology. There has to be something to it. So with that said, vibe code, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to the public? Kind of let us get on the same page there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Jack and many others are doing, especially coming out of Y Combinator as well, is magical, right? This new technology is allowing you to skip this analysis paralysis that many experience when it comes to starting a project or making an idea come to life. Now there is a tool out there and available to almost anybody that you can single shot create an entire application and theoretically an entire company on top of that. At the end of the day, vibe coding is standing on the shoulders of this buzzword that we all hear of generative AI, and it's the ability to generate code. So you say, hey, Colin, I have an idea for a poker application or a movie recommendation service. And you can say simply just that to some of these tools, and it'll do a lot of the thinking and dot connecting for you to create that application. But you have to be careful with this, right? Jack, seasoned developer, seasoned company builder. So he knows his first principles and his guiding principles to make something like that successful and secure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's what I wanted to hone in on is you'll see TikTok, Instagram, YouTube videos of I have zero coding experience and I started this business. There's obviously risk if you
Yeah.
don't know what you're looking for. So for somebody who is trying to go down that pathway, is there any websites or learning or things they should educate themselves on before blindly trusting this concept of vibe coding?
Yeah, absolutely. We can drop a bunch of links in the chat and the comments here, but I think it all comes down to those initial principles of software engineering, right? These tools are exactly that. They're a tool to help enable you get a task done. While they may seem like magic, at the end of the day, they are creating functional code. They are not creating production ready code. And that's what the big risk here is. I think a big side effect is going to be a giant backlog of tech debt. But if you just need something functional and easy, then these are a great place to start and even serve as a great mentor to help teach you what production level code even means.
Right on. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I I agree with that fundamentally. So I've been in the AI space as well since 2015, but in a whole different world in the industrial side. And
Yeah.
there still needs to be an analysis who knows how the machine is supposed to operate to look for the noise and how to clean out the distraction to make that model trustworthy. And I'm speaking very high level, but I guess to your eyes
Yeah.
and to your knowledge, it's the same concept is if you don't know what gaps to look for, you can get yourself in trouble pretty quickly, it sounds like. So you can't be overly naive, but you have to be excited and willing to try to venture into this direction at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see posts almost every day of somebody creating a new application and then they go live with it. And what they don't realize is that their keys are exposed in the front end code
Hmm.
that's just hosting their website. Or it looks super great. Maybe the keys are protected, but they're collecting user emails. And all of that is just surfaced right in code, readily available from a right click inspect for anyone to see. And so it's just the little things like that, right? But the key really is that it's functional, it works, it looks great. It probably even created something more than what you told it to. But use that as a lesson. Use that as a jumping off point to then go to that next level and say, great, this is how the logic should be constructed. These are the types of things that I need in a code base. How can I make myself better? How can I improve on that?
It's kind of funny you say that, pulling up the code. It reminds me of I know that Gen Z might not relate to this, but the MySpace days when you could pull up the HTML5, HTML
Just
graphic
thinking
coding
MySpace.
and update the web page because that's how open the internet was back then. So that made me reminisce on some of my youthful days. So this is all great, and
Yeah.
I have some questions in the morality of AI and where you see it going because if this technology can help us be more agile it could help companies build new business models. So I did read something the other day about maybe airlines combing through personal information, emails, so on and so forth, to then create a search charge because they know that you have an important meeting or you had something impacted in your family that you have to be from point A to point B, and they could take advantage of that. I'm not sure how fast that would move. I'm not sure if AI is the reason for that, but I just kind of want to hear your thoughts about future business challenges that may come as a result of this type of vibe code or agentic AI.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy stuff, right? I mean, it is that corporate greed that is kind of coming out there, but it comes back
Of
to
course.
guiding principles, right? Like for the enterprise, for the human, for the self, AI is not creating that risk. I think if that is a feature set that wants to go out into the world, then AI is not the reason for that at the end of the day. AI may be lowering the barrier to entry to make something like that real. But I think in large companies, especially with airlines and using malicious pricing tactics, the key is really going to be, is this what's best for the consumers, and really just the ethical ramification of it at the end of the day. The one thing with vibe coding and AI, and just that, because that barrier to entry is lower, just like we were talking about keys being exposed, making sure that other security risks are not happening, right? Like maybe Colin's email now is all exposed to the world because it was done quick and fast, which every company loves, right? Speed to value is the name of the game. But speed to value has risks as part of it.
Yeah, and how do you change a generation, like just like any other world? The way that we use internet, the way we use technologies changed quite drastically. Like a computer used to be the size of a semi truck trailer, and now we have supercomputers in our pocket. So
Yeah.
how do you change this shift of folks that are in like elementary school, eighth grade, high school, college that have been using AI since they can remember? They've been using some version to not overly trust, or do you think that we're going to develop fail safes that kind of can containerize some of those risks? Like, where do you see the future of architectures going in that realm?
Yeah, yeah, interesting points. I mean, probably both of the things that you're saying there, right? I mean, it's just like the early 90s and object-oriented code came out and programmers thought their jobs were going to start becoming obsolete and shift to designers and product owners. But that didn't happen, right? It's just a new way of working and a new way of thinking. And just like the youngest generation that are incepted with this way of working, everyone needs to adapt. They need to adapt and learn the fundamentals at the end of the day, right? I opened with that. I'm closing with that. It comes down to understanding the principles of software engineering. I think the big thing is that this is a tool you can use as a mentor, but practice defensive prompting. Be ready to explain the concepts of what you actually want to happen. So this reasoning engine is not making assumptions for you. And then reasoning yourself over the output that it gives you and fact checking, right? Just like when you're writing an essay, when we first learn to construct our beautiful second grade stories, they may not be structurally sound. They get the point across, though, just like one single shot vibe coding. But then when you're doing your thesis, there's a lot more structure in there, and citations become even more important. So make sure, and when you're using citation, you need to make sure that's something real and not a Reddit post from a random username from 3 years ago, right? So
Right.
it's all
You,
about fact checking what you have and what you make.
you don't want to build a house without a foundation. So
You
it makes
don't.
total sense to me. So I've closed every episode of this so far, and you were alluding towards this subject, is how AI can be something that we embrace to augment ourselves to that adaptability of the future. So if you had any last sentence on that, what would your advice be to Anthony 15 years ago today of where to go with this?
Yeah, and keep practicing that growth mindset, right? Be a technologist, lean into the new things. Just because they're new doesn't mean that they're scary, and it is all just a tool at the end of the day to help you. And like I said, it's just a new way of working and thinking. So let's have some fun with it.
Right on. Well, appreciate it, Anthony. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. I'll see you around.